Everyone who likes The Legend of Zelda knows that there are a lot of great games in the series. They're all special in their own way, whether they be cartoony, dark, full of side quests, great on the go, or cryptic and confusing. They all usually turn out great.
I'm looking at you, Zelda CDI.
With all these great games coming from one franchise, I thought to myself, hey, which one's the best? And, well, I came up with a list of my favorite Legend of Zelda games. So, I'm TheShadowMantis, and welcome to my top 10 favorite Legend of Zelda games. Coming in at number 10 is the one that started it all. This was one of the greatest NES titles, and there was a reason for that. The gameplay was simple, fun, but not easy. It was a weird combination of action, puzzle solving, and among other things, testing your patience. In what other game do you blow up a random wall to progress further, multiple times? Looking back on it, that's what made this game great. Finding hints and secrets was like finding a needle in a haystack, except that needle was made of 24-karat gold. With some of the greatest gameplay on the NES, there was no way this game wouldn't show up on this list. Now, I know not everyone will agree with me on this one. Hell, I couldn't even agree with myself. That's why I picked both of the Nintendo DS Zelda games to come in at number 9. Both of these games were about bringing The Legend of Zelda back to its roots as a top-down action game. With the use of a boat in Phantom Hourglass and a train and spirit tracks, you traversed a very vast world full of mystery, adventure, and dungeon crawling. The dungeons in these games were great the whole way through. They were fun, innovative, and great examples of good Nintendo DS gameplay. With the exception of the train and boat sections, which were fun but slowed down the gameplay, I can honestly say these games deserve this spot on the list. In Nintendo's latest Legend of Zelda game, we found ourselves flying through the clouds and exploring the land below. Although it was a very linear game, it was extremely fun, and although a bit predictable, at no point did I feel unhappy with it. There were many side quests, collectibles, and a fully integrated upgrade system, which I felt added a lot to the exploration factor of the game, due to the amount of resources needed to upgrade your equipment. The final quarter of the game lacked dungeons, but that was just a mild hiccup in a great game. In the end, Skyward Sword wasn't the amazing 3D Zelda game we were looking for, but it was still pretty damn good, placing it at number 8. Now, I didn't play this game until recently, but when I did, holy diddly dick, it was good. Originally planned to be a Game Boy port of A Link to the Past, Link's Awakening was far ahead of its time on the Game Boy. Making a portable Legend of Zelda game was amazing, and the gameplay reflected it. Scouring the 8 dungeons on the island of Koholint, Link had to find 8 instruments so he could play a lullaby to the windfish, so it would wake up. What? Although the story was weird, and the game was also a little weird, that didn't mean it wasn't fun. Link's Awakening went down in history for being one of the greatest Game Boy games, and there was a reason for that. Coming in at number 6 is another handheld Zelda. Although this one is widely overlooked, I feel it deserves a bit more attention. The Minish Cap told us the origin story of Vati, the Wind Sorcerer. It had a massive world and great dungeons. Seriously, these dungeons were amazing, boasting such items as the Gust Jar, which lets you suck in and blow out wind, the Mole Mitts, which lets you dig into soft surfaces in the walls, and the Can of Pocky, which, you know what, just watch. The fuck is that shit? Anyways, this game hits home a little bit for me since it was one of my first Game Boy Advance games. Seriously, if you haven't played this one, you should definitely try it out. I remember my bitching and moaning when I was 8. I had a tiny splinter in my toe, and I was too afraid to take it out. I wouldn't let anyone else take it out either. That was until my dad offered to buy my spoiled ass a Wii. My mom pulled out the splinter and I endured 2 hours of waiting for my dad to come back, and when he did, he had 2 things. The Wii and The Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess. Until I replayed this game, I didn't remember too much about it. All I remembered was Uku, a piece of shit chicken that let you exit dungeons. The Sky Dungeon, which was confusing as shit. The puzzle you had to complete before getting the Master Sword. All the fucking Twilight bug hunts. And the Twilight Realm, which was the bane of my 8-year-old existence. Leave me alone! So you could say, I didn't have the fondest memories of this game. But when I replayed it, I remembered everything that made it great. I remembered all the horseback riding in Hyrule Field and how good it was. I remembered the countless side quests that added so much to this game. I remembered all the fun minigames. I remembered the incredible dungeons. I remembered all the good things about this game, and I didn't have it in my heart to dwell on all the bad. So I focused on the good. And once I did that, I knew that this game deserved this spot on the list. This was probably the most influential game in the franchise. A Link to the Past took the exploration aspect of the original game, spiced it up a bit, added over 10 dungeons, and shipped it off for the SNES. Highly regarded as one of the best games of all time, A Link to the Past always pleases. I can only think of one place where I was unhappy. Fucking ice piece of shit temple! And that wasn't even that bad a temple, once you got the hang of it. With great gameplay, music, action, exploration, side quests, collectibles, minigames, 2 different fucking overworlds, this game had it all. Now, let's head on to the final 3. Now, these final 3 choices killed me inside. This whole list was hard enough to make, but deciding my favorite game in one of my most beloved series of video games was no easy task. These final 3 games were all games that I grew up with, so cut me some slack if I'm a little biased at some points. Clocking in at number 3 is The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time. Widely debated to be the greatest Zelda game, this was one of the funnest Zelda games for me. It was the first Legend of Zelda game that I actually beat, and I still play it every once in a while. Excluding all of the cutscenes, the action never stops in this game, whether you were in a dungeon, traversing the overworld, fishing, getting the goddamn big pose. Fuck you, Big Po. Fuck you. This game never ceases to amuse me. At the time of its release, many people said it would be impossible to top this game, but Nintendo eventually found a way. This game was dark, mysterious, gloomy, depressing, and all around sad. But it was fun as shit! The Legend of Zelda Majora's Mask was a game that put you in the world of Termina, which was approaching its doomsday. With a homicidal moon looming above and a maniac on the loose, it was up to Link to save Termina in under 3 days. Although this game only had 4 dungeons, it had an unbelievable amount of side quests, minigames, and collectibles. Basically, it was a game about all the small stuff, and the small stuff is what made it great. With the ability to change into 3 different forms of Link, travel through time, and explore the doomed world of Termina, you were in for one hell of a ride. Although it was unpopular at its release, nowadays it is a cult classic and a must-play for any fan of Zelda. Here it is, my favorite Zelda game. It's the one I grew up with, and it's the one I played the most, and it is The Legend of Zelda: The Wind Waker. I know for a fact that some people will disagree with me on this one, but I don't care. I don't care if the graphics are cartoony. I don't care if the sailing takes too long. I don't care if the final Triforce quest is a bit annoying. As a fan of Zelda, I loved exploring the vast ocean and the many islands dotting it. I loved it when I was young, and I love it now. This game is all about the experience. Sure, it takes a while to get from place to place, but does that really take away from the gameplay? This game is a masterpiece visually and physically. It is one of the only 2 games to this date that have made me shed a tear. The other game being Mother 3. If we stopped looking for all the problems in a game, I assure you that we could have a genuinely better time in any game, and that goes double for this game. I love the music, I love the story, I love the art style, I love the characters, I love the dungeons, I love the funny enemies, I love the sailing, and I love The Wind Waker. Thanks for watching this Top 10. If you enjoyed, please help me out by giving me a like or a favorite. Subscribe for more Top 10s and Let's Plays. Also, I would like to thank everyone for helping me reach over 600 subscribers. I never thought I would get this far, and I couldn't have done it without you guys. Anyways, thanks for watching, and goodbye.